What's up, everybody? I'm the Wiz.
And I'm the GeekSon.
Today, we'll finally be doing our review on The Batman. Now, we're a few weeks late. We went to see it, I think, the second. Was it the first? First of March, right? First or second of March, man. So we saw it about three or 4 days early. And then we went back again on the release day to see it. So we got to see, So we got to see The Batman twice, which automatically makes us better than you.
Yeah. Just let that soak in.
But nah, there's probably people out there that's seen it 10 times already. The first time we saw it, we actually saw it in the IMAX theater. The second time we saw it in the regular theater. So not only did we see it twice, but I think we got two pretty distinct experiences. Yeah, for sure. Not too much. The movie was still good both times. Like, I mean, it's a phenomenal movie. But the IMAX, we were able to see a lot more details that I think benefited the story. I mean, it really changed some of the scenes.
Yeah, I think because we went to the IMAX at first, I feel like that did sway our opinion on the second one.
Right.
Because,
well, not on the film itself, though.
Or what we could see, and like I felt like.
Well, you know what? And I think that's where you and I differ, actually, because I could tell it bothered you. It didn't bother me at all. It bothered me because we were with people, and I was worried that they weren't going to experience the way we experienced it. So I felt like they were missing something. Once I saw that they liked the movie, it didn't bother me.
Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah. Well, not even him. I mean, yeah. But I felt your pain, though. You know what I mean? Like, I could see it. Some of the scenes were just felt dramatically different, you know? And I really can't explain it. You know what I mean? It's weird that even some of the scenes you were able to see more, where it felt like it would have been creepier if you didn't, but it was actually better to see it all. You know, for example, we might as well dive into it. The first scene, which really set the tone for the movie for me, was
Riddler killing the mayor. Yeah,
the very first scene, they have a scene where the Riddler is watching the mayor from across the street, like basically essentially stalking the mayor. And then he ends up actually in the mayor's mansion, you know, right behind him. And the way the scene was, the mayor is standing facing the camera, so we're the audience. The mayor is there facing us. He takes a step to the left, and the Riddler is behind him, and you get that sense that the Riddler was behind him for you don't know how long, you know. Like we sat there and watched.
And it was like, it was creepy. It was quiet because he you see through his glasses and his mask, he just had his eyes wide open, just watching him walk back and forth through the room
and not moving. Yeah,
nope, not a move.
And then all out of nowhere, he starts. Did he scream or something? And
he
pulled out a weapon.
Yelled. I think because the mayor turned around. And it was just
crazy scene. Very, very brutal.
And it was creepy because I think something was real creepy. I think because of how his mask was made, he was breathing really.
Oh yeah. Well, the whole thing. Yeah, the quietness, the eyes, like you said, the eyes bulging, very intimidating. Very, very creepy is the best thing. I can't even say scary. It was just creepy. We go from that scene to straight to the Batman stuff. So you have Batman narrating, which is cool. And again, this is some of it we heard on the trailer. But to me, one of the dopest scenes of the movie and the best way to start this movie as far as Batman's introduction, they're showing the bat signal in the air. So for us, and we already know going into the movie that this is year 2 Batman. So the bat signal in the air lets us know that he has some kind of relationship with the police. So that was one thing that it was telling. And then they actually showed a couple of scenes of the criminals, how the criminals were reacting to the bat signal. And the crazy thing is we have direct contrast because there were scenes like that, I believe, in The Dark Knight, in the second movie in the Dark Knight trilogy. They had at the beginning, I think they had the bat signal up and the criminals were kind of talking about the Batman, you know, so it was weird. It was almost the same kind of scene, but in the Batman, the 2022, the Batman, you have that scene, the signals in the air, and you can actually feel the anxiety of the criminals.
It was just because they literally dropped all society, and the only thing that was going through their head was, oh my gosh,
freaking Batman.
They just alarmed Batman.
Yep.
Because like all just the scenes like when they were spray painting the bank.
Yeah.
Dropped the spray can. His buddies are telling him, "Yo, come on, we gotta run."
He was shook,
and he doesn't move. The other
and both of the scenes, right, where they were looking at the shadows. So he drops the spray paint can, it rolls into the shadows, and he's looking at the shadow like, "Yo, it's the Batman." And us as the audience, we don't know whether the Batman. I don't know about you, but I kind of got a hint because we did see the subway scene. They showed those criminals, so we kind of knew where the Batman was going to be.
But we didn't know that until after, because they didn't show that until after.
Right. They showed him on the train. Right. They showed a couple of scenes and then they started. Right. That's true. That's true. Well, they showed the villain. I thought they showed them riding the train though. So that's what I knew. You're right. I didn't see the subway scene, but I knew it was like, okay, I know he's going to show up for them. I wasn't sure if he was going to show up for the others. But
and I like the camera view because like when they showed them right on the train, they showed the point of view from the other cart. Right. They showed it through the window of the other cart.
That's true. Yep, and he was in another cart. And by the way, cool thing about seeing it twice, right? We saw it the first time. I think I knew he was putting his makeup on. And then the second time it validated that. So he was in that cart putting his Batman costume on as well. Am I wrong? That was the sense that I got. Like he was putting on the makeup or he was doing something.
Oh, yeah, he probably was.
Yeah. So, man, just dope scene. Built anxiety. It let us know how at least the criminal element sees the Batman already. Like he's the boogeyman. They believe he's a moving shadow. In fact, some of the dialogue was Batman saying they think I'm in the shadows, but I am the shadow or something like that. Yeah, which is a super famous line, I think, from Batman the animated series. He said something like that, which is real popular. No, he said, "I am the night." I'm sorry. Rewind that. Close enough though.
So yeah, it was probably that kind of.
Yeah. It's been weeks since the release, so if you're watching this, you probably already seen the movie, and if you haven't, look, there's spoilers. If you don't know already, it says it in the title. This is a spoiler review, but I'm still not going to spell out the entire movie. So I think we're just going to hit a couple of moments that stood out to me. Actually, starting with this guy right here. Your standout scenes. Give me a good, I don't know, at least two of them. Three would be nice.
Three? I think the first one was obviously the train. The train.
Yeah, right.
Even though we saw it in the trailer, it was still crazy to see it again.
Big screen. Yep. Seeing the entire fight because we only saw him beat up one guy in the trailer. So this time we get to see him.
And later on we saw some more of like when they were shooting at him and
right.
Like deflecting bullets and stuff.
Right. You're right.
And I thought that was crazy because I think even then, speaking with the fear, even the dude that he saved was scared of him. He was like, "Oh, don't hurt me."
Yeah.
So he even shows fear.
Right. That's absolutely right. Yep. So everybody was scared of him. They don't know what he is.
I think another scene, of course, is the Batmobile scene.
The Batmobile scene is it, man. So obviously we're gonna overlap with probably most of the favorite scenes. I don't even know why I tried to separate it with your favorite scene as mine because they're probably going to be a lot the same. The Batmobile scene was crazy. Dude, you can't imagine. I mean, on every level, when the car was just sitting there and he turned the car on. And again, this is probably something you guys done heard 1,000 times, is that engine roaring. Because I've actually seen on YouTube, people actually posted just the sound of the car starting. No video or anything, just the sound of the car starting.
Just the sound of the car starting, the large amount of exhaust that were on the car. So there's fire coming out of the front of the car,
the bottom, sides of the cars,
the back.
Yep.
He moved the car just a little bit.
Yeah. He was just stunting it a little bit, so it was just like it was just moving forward just a little bit. So he was trying to intimidate, and I think he was just trying to get because Catwoman was in danger, if I'm not mistaken. So it looked like it was a technique to kind of scare them from there, and it worked. Them jokers were shook.
Which I like because it skipped from him being on the floor after he got shot to all of a sudden the Batmobile was starting up.
Right.
And they didn't. Right. I don't think they even showed him in the Batmobile.
They didn't.
It was like limo glass. Like they didn't show that he was in. They just
the
car was on.
Right. Yep. And then the actual chase itself, man, was, again, they showed good bits and pieces in the trailer.
And they released a. They released
the chase. They released a clip with most of that chase scene that we had seen. And again, context. There was little scenes here and there that was in there that we didn't get to see, and it just felt like a different scene when you watch it. It just was incredible. You saw the passion of Batman driving. I mean, he's yelling while he's driving and stuff, you know.
And literally like abusing the name muscle car.
Oh, without a doubt.
Compared to the Tumbler or any other Batmobile, he was just knocking through everything.
Oh yeah,
not going over it, and he's literally just
a different kind of scene, man. Yeah. It's hard to explain, yo. The Tumbler was running over things.
It was a tank.
They called it a tank in the movie, you know, in The Dark Knight. So it was that. It was cool. The Michael Keaton's Batman, still my favorite Batmobile. Visually, that's still my favorite Batmobile. But if we had to be real, that thing wasn't moving. You know what I mean? It probably wasn't the fastest car. Or you can't tell whether it was the fastest car because it looked like it was on a built set most of the time. Mm-hmm. And you know, and the little tricks that it did was 1989. Like I said, it was cool. It was always gonna be cool to me. This bad boy looked like a real functional vehicle that was moving in the world. Like you said, it was a muscle car. It just had a little bit more armor on it, maybe, giving it the ability to run through things.
Yeah, he went through a concrete, one of those tubes.
Right. Oh,
it came off the back of the semi. That was absolutely crazy.
And we're airborne, which was in the trailer, when he actually jumped. Mm-hmm. And I think that was one of the scenes that was kind of missing. Like they kind of showed him go on a ramp. I don't know if they showed that in the trailer or in the clip. I felt like that was new, showing him jump through, you know, multiple trailers or whatever.
I think you noticed. Actually, yeah, you did notice how they played with time too.
Correct.
Because
the second time we watched it, yep. So it felt like, in other words, and movies do that, but it was real cool how they would show the Penguin react. So they're showing the camera, Penguin is reacting, and then they would show actually what was happening. And I feel like I still gotta watch it a third time and kind of check that, because you're right, I kind of peeped it, but I'm still not 100% sure. But there's a scene later on in the movie where they absolutely did that on purpose to kind of get us, you know. But yeah, that was part of it. And by the way, you can't talk about the Batmobile scene or you know, a couple of scenes early without talking about the Penguin and Colin Farrell's performance as the Penguin, which is I don't even know. Have you know what Colin Farrell looks like? Have you seen him?
Yeah, I think
because you've seen interviews and stuff. Yeah. Man,
which it's like seeing like just like a small detail I can see in the Penguin.
Yeah.
But it's like it just looks like the Penguin.
Well, yeah, and they went Mob Boss version of him or lowercase because he's not a boss yet.
I feel that's what Penguin was though.
No, he was, but he hasn't always been that. So you got to think, when I was growing up, he was more of a bank robber. He wasn't that yet. You're probably saying that because you've seen Arkham Knight, the later comic books. He is that. But I don't feel like he wasn't always like that from the beginning. And y'all let me know if I'm wrong. But well, I know when I was growing up, he was just a guy in a penguin suit.
I know in the animated film he did rob banks.
Correct, but he wasn't a mob boss.
Yeah.
Like mob bosses don't. I might be wrong, but mob bosses don't really rob banks. Yeah. But they do other dumb criminal stuff.
Oh. But I'll go back to it. My third favorite scene was when he was in the club trying to go in and go save Catwoman, and he got off the elevator.
Yeah.
The lights got cut. He cut the lights out.
He cut the lights out already.
He ziplined up to the elevator, opened it. Some guy walked in with a flashlight, looked up, noticed him on the roof.
Right.
Knocked that guy out, and then like the flashlight didn't illuminate anything anymore. So it was just dark, just him walking down.
Yeah.
And then the only thing that lit up the entire scene was the automatic weapons and the guns. Right. And he was just taking like it's not like he was dodging at all.
Yeah.
He was just walking through it. It was like that.
And
is
that's
like crazy
another thing, man. You know what? The psychology, it goes without saying. It shouldn't. A lot of people end up liking the movie. But when I was watching it, I felt like the vision was so specific that it might not be for everybody. And I think I might be proven wrong. But anyway, one of the things that again, I think I saw a couple of people complaining was the fact that he was taking so many gunshots. But I think he walked in a way where people wanted to shoot. I think I read that in one of the older comic books where the logo, he made that logo, especially when it was the yellow logo. Part of that was to get people to shoot there because that's where most of his armor was concentrated. And so I got that feeling from this where he kind of walked in a way where all the armor pieces were revealed. And I think that particular scene kind of highlighted where it was like, yeah, they were shooting right there, you know?
I think, but it also made me love it so much because even though watching all these movies and like playing the video game, watching the animated series, even with the armor, if he got shot, it did something to him.
Yeah,
even in Arkham Knight, Arkham Knight, they pointed out so much in the Arkham Knight that his armor the bullets didn't affect him.
Right.
But you still lost health in the game. You lost a massive amount of health.
Yeah.
In this one, it's like he couldn't care. Like literally, he couldn't care less.
Right.
While you're shooting him, he's taking you down.
Right. Nah. Exactly. And you know what? To kind of sidestep, one of the misconceptions that I had going in was thinking that this was going to be the most realistic Batman movie. I feel like a lot of people said that. I don't know if Matt Reeves, I don't know if the director or anybody else said that. So I feel like we just got that just from the images. For instance, seeing the Batmobile just looks extremely grounded. It looks like a real car. People are saying that the Dodge Charger, 69 Charger, and something else I believe they said. I can see the Charger in the design.
I think it was a Corvette. The front of it looked like a Corvette, someone said, I think, when I looked it up.
It don't look like no Corvette. This dude just likes Corvette, man.
No.
Corvette's in your mind.
Yeah.
Like it was made out of fiberglass. It would have broke when it hit one of those things.
But it was armored.
I'm not looking at you. Nah, you're right. But I did think I heard that. You know what I heard that from? The 89 Batmobile said was designed to look like the Corvette.
Oh,
that's why it's got that big. Yeah.
To be honest with you, I didn't really see the Corvette either.
Yeah.
I saw a muscle car.
Yeah.
But when I looked it up, because I saw multiple different.
Well, and I think Warner Brothers haven't released. I think the people that created it, designed it, did kind of comment on it, but they were never specific that this is what we use. This is what we use. I will say that I read one thing, and they were being real vague about it. But you're right. There's no denying that it has a muscle car element. But anyway, the point is, the car's grounded. The costume looked grounded. And I think that gave everybody the impression that this was going to be the most realistic Batman. So one of the things that I saw that I ended up liking was that it wasn't as realistic as I thought. Like it was definitely a Batman movie.
Yeah, it was. A lot of scenes were definitely realistic,
like fantasy. Yeah, but not like the Dark Knight trilogy. Like the Dark Knight was so realistic at times. I'm only admitting this now because we got a way better Batman movie in my opinion. We're still debating the Dark Knight. The Dark Knight is still up there, but that trilogy in whole,
I just like the Joker.
The Joker was dope, but they made a movie that was so realistic. When you hear Christian Bale talk, or there was certain scenes that was awkward because it didn't fit that world. It was so realistic that Batman stood out sometimes. I didn't feel that way with this. He stood with those cops. And it was awkward because it was supposed to be awkward. Like, yeah, you got a man dressed up. There's no denying you got a man dressed up in a bat, but they built the world where I felt like he fit in that world. Even when he walked in the club, again, it's Batman. I'm not saying he didn't stand out, but he fit that world perfect. So I think I heard a good description that I heard on Kevin Smith, I think, was that the Dark Knight trilogy created, took the real world and they put Batman in the real world. Whereas in the new movie, the Batman made that world real. You know what I mean? It didn't feel like any city that I've seen. Like you could feel the New York, but then it did feel like England. It was a lot going on in that world that made it feel not realistic. And the reason I bring that up is because of the damage he was taking. When I first saw it, I didn't tell you, I didn't make this complaint too public, but man, he was getting hurt. There was some times when I felt like he shouldn't have been getting up. There was a couple of times, man, when, it was just like, yeah.
I think...
Did he just get beat up, jumped the day before?
But you mentioned it. But that's when they played with time. They didn't tell you how much time was between.
Yes. And so that was the second viewing.
Like the
first viewing is when I thought that. And it wasn't a complete complaint. But you're right. It was the time, meaning he got jumped. When we first watched it, it felt like he got jumped by a bunch of people. No. The big one was the explosion. The first one.
No, I don't.
Explosion, and then and then he's running through the police station, which actually did happen hours later. So that whole thing. So explosion, running through the police station. He jumps off a building wearing a flight suit, a flying suit, and hits him.
Which I think that was the most realistic thing compared to the other Batmans using their
right
using their cape.
Well, it was a good mix, man. So if I was to bring it back now, so I'm not saying, when I'm saying it was fantasy, I'm not saying that it was all fantasy. I guess it was a good balance, because it's either one or the other. You either got a Tim Burton Batman that's extremely stylized, or you had this Chris Nolan films that was very, very realistic. This one I felt like was a combination of the both. And so, right, because you say that, him jumping off, the flight suit, the way that was realistic. The speed of it was realistic. But then the impact, he actually hit some things. And it's like, okay, that's hard to believe you survived. And then it's hard to believe you even got up and walked out. And then the next scene, you see him elsewhere. But then you add that fantasy level to the movie. Then when now you look at it, then you get the feeling that it's a Batman movie.
Or it's
then I can kind of let that slide a little.
Or it's like a hero movie in general. Like what they say, the hero always gets up.
Oh yeah, for sure. And again, it was the time. That particular scene is the scene when I was watching it again. I got to watch it again to make sure. But when we first watched it, I got the feeling he impact this bridge. I think he hit the top of a bus and then he hit the ground.
He landed on top of the bus.
And then he limps off. And then the next scene, he's on the top of this building meeting with Commissioner Gordon, looking normal. That was when I was like, you know what? I don't think that was the same day. Like, we're not seeing him go home at the end of every scene, you know what I'm saying? And so again, other people might have noticed it. That was just when I was watching it, I just realized like, oh, they're doing something with time. Time isn't moving exactly how we think it is. Even the fact that it was nighttime most of the time. I mean, we saw two sunsets because it was the dates at the end when I actually really realized it. Right?
There was only
there was like 7 days that passed or something.
Yeah, there was one day scene, I think.
Yeah,
a funeral.
Complete day scene, but they had a couple of sunrises when he was on top of the building. Yeah, but anyway, like I said, it wasn't a diss. Even when I said I thought it the first time, it never took me out of the movie. The second time I saw it, then it was like, okay, I get this world.
Like it was different from every other Batman movie because what I feel, I feel like the movie was a lot different compared to any other Batman movie because what I said before, it was majority Batman.
Oh yeah,
it was
95. I think when we walked out the movie theater, I think I said 95% Batman. Mm-hmm. Dude, I actually think it was 98, maybe even 99% Batman. It was like Batman all the time. We got one scene at the beginning, Riddler.
Mm-hmm. And that was like the only scene where Riddler was in a scene without. The only other scenes we got later was Batman watching a film of Riddler.
Right. Exactly. And man, Matt Reeves, man. That's all it is, man. I'm hearing mixed reviews. I'm sure people are gonna think differently, man. But Matt Reeves is a beast. I went back and watched one of the Planet of the Apes and they had a camera on top of the tank. So when the tank was moving, the camera was there. And it was like, that's the exact technique they used on the Batmobile. And they had the camera on the back of the Batmobile moving, you know? So, man, visually, this thing is a masterpiece.
And when Penguin his car was flipping and the camera was on the back of the car.
It was on the side of the car. Yep, on the back of the car. Yep.
Oh, showing the inside. Oh, yeah, in the side of the tire when Batman drifted and stops.
Right.
That was beautiful.
The cinematography was gorgeous in the Batman, man. I think every scene looked like a work of art in some shape, form, or fashion.
I felt like it was different, mainly because any other Batman movie they focused so much on the criminal, like Heath Ledger's Joker. Like, I feel like a lot of it was what he was doing behind the scenes,
right,
or what Bane was doing, or the 1989 Batman, what was Joker doing.
Right.
Like, I felt like they showed so much of what was the villain doing minus what Batman was doing.
Right.
I feel like this one, it was always what is Batman doing? What is Batman seeing? And like when he played with time, when he tried calling Alfred. Mm-hmm. And notice that happened like what did it say 2 hours ago?
Right, like an hour or 2 hours ago. Yeah, so the scene when he was rushing home to rescue Alfred, and he was calling. While he's calling, Matt Reeves is showing us what's happening to Alfred at the same time. So Alfred is opening up the envelope that's a bomb. They're showing this at the same time as Batman's racing home. He's calling. Someone picks up on the other side, and it comes to find out the scene that they were showing actually happened hours ago.
Which I think was crazy because when they were showing the Alfred scene, they showed before they showed him open the envelope that there was a phone ringing.
Correct.
Which
made it seem like Alfred was ignoring the phone call. Yep. Oh man.
And then they showed us later that wasn't even the same phone call.
Genius, yo. Man, what was other good points, man? We talked about the Catwoman, man. The Catwoman-Batman relationship was absolutely convincing.
Catwoman was grounded. I like the Catwoman a lot.
Catwoman was dope. Like, this is it. She again, man, Michelle Pfeiffer is iconic, man, in the same way that Michael Keaton is iconic. You got these characters that's iconic. But, man, these takes were fresh and definitely some of the best takes on it, man. And Catwoman is it. You haven't seen Catwoman move, fight, do the way she talked, the way she think, man. She was just absolutely, perfect. And again, she was so perfect, I think, was why it was easy to convince me that, Bruce Wayne or the Batman fell in love with her. And then her character also was in a way where, she straight up said she likes strays. So you got this feeling that she like broken people, and obviously Bruce Wayne is broken. So you can kind of see her attraction to him, where he was the perfect version of broken. Like, she's seen him handling business. She saw him handling the Penguin in a certain way, and rolling with him. You can tell she had a respect for him, admiration for him. That is easy to believe that would turn into love. But
and when at the end when he took the adrenaline shot and started beating up the guy, and she got up and noticed how bad he was beating that dude up.
Right.
I feel like that played so much into his level of commitment to how much he liked her.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-mm.
You don't know what I'm saying?
Mm-mm.
Well, because whatchamacallit, he got knocked down on the ground by the shotgun, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she came and saved him.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, what he was willing to do for her is what you're saying. Yeah. Man, I was thinking about him being beat up.
Huh?
I don't know what I was thinking about. I was thinking about something else. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Yep. And also helped us realize. And I think that's what it is too, because I was thinking of us as the audience. That was also one of them scenes when you realize how much, he cared about her. Because, he wasn't playing no games.
She kissed him in
she
that
was in
scene,
danger.
When she saved him?
I don't remember.
Because she saved him. I thought.
Yeah.
Told him that he can relax for a second.
Somebody told me they kissed a lot. Like, they kissed 3 or 4 times. And I was like, I don't remember. I only remember like twice. So that might have been one of the times that
one of the sunsets, I think.
Yeah, I remember that. But yeah, and by the way, we got like 3 different movies. We got a Batman film. We got this crime saga / mystery. Let's say 4 movies, because then we got the suspenseful horror film, and then I felt like we got a disaster film at the end.
Oh yeah,
You know, and again, I don't have to complain because I liked it. But when I was watching the movie, I was very, very conscientious of, again, this being a very specific kind of movie. What people may like it and may not like it. I kind of thought that people probably aren't going to like the end because the end was so different. But I loved it, man. It's just everything just made a statement of who Batman was and was so relevant to the story.
And which made this movie, which made this movie so much different.
Yeah.
Because I feel like any other of the villains in the movies had just one goal. Oh, I want to do this.
That's true.
I want to do this. Like Alfred's quote in the Dark Knight movies. Or was it Dark Knight? Yeah. Some people just want to watch the world burn.
Right.
I feel like they had one goal. I feel like Riddler in this one, he had so many misleading ideas.
Right. Well, and it was just the Riddler, man. You know, the Riddler acts made a statement that was more than just about the Riddler. Like, it really, really felt like Riddler wasn't the main bad guy in a way. You know what I mean? Because even though he constructed that thing at the end, but it felt like it was such a statement about Batman and what Batman, his visions, is causing other people to do. You know what I mean?
And his influence on Gotham, because even all the people that followed the 500 people that followed him, followed Riddler, and did all those things at the ceremony.
Right.
I feel like that played a part into it.
Yeah.
With how like what'd you say? How they felt about him.
Right.
How.
Right. Yeah, man. So what's another thing, man? The costume designs was dope, man. I think Batman looked pretty dope. Anything that I think I might have had beef with, I think when first time I seen a picture of Batman and saw the stitches, wasn't sure if I liked that. Dude, anything that I had questions or beef with, man, once I saw the movie, it just disappeared, yo. And I didn't have a lot, to be honest with you, man. I had more to look forward to than anything. And so again, I think this ended up being my favorite Batman costume as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're completely moving away from the latex look, which the Ben Affleck did a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Had more of a cloth, at least over the Kevlar look. But this one had this armored, you said Arkham. I think you said in the movie theater, it just had an Arkham Knight.
Oh, yeah, yeah, with the different plates of armor.
Right. Had a functional bat signal, so he actually
he
took his bat signal out and used it as a knife. So costume design was dope. Catwoman, we still getting a Catwoman that's not fully formed. She's not as far along as even Batman is. So you can kind of see where there's a hints of cat, quote unquote cat in there, but you can tell she's still developing that look.
Which I liked the way he made her costume. It made you feel like it wasn't. What you said, she wasn't developed. It was just a side hobby for her.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But at the same time, we saw how much time she had invested in getting close to Falcone, which was dope. Which is a good segue to Falcone. We ain't talking about Falcone at all, or Batman's history. So this movie, we didn't get a rehash of the Batman's origin. They sprinkled it in there a little bit in a way that was different. So it didn't feel like a recap, but they did kind of go into the parents' death, why the parents were killed, possibly because they were real careful on not saying for sure that's what happened, that Falcone was responsible for their death, but they definitely hinted towards it. And we definitely got history of the Waynes and Wayne's involvement with.
What was the other family? Arkham?
Yeah, the Arkham family, and was it a Thomas? No, that's Thomas Wayne. I feel like there was somebody else. What was the character from Hush? There was one other family.
Was it not? Wasn't Eli? what was it?
But Elliot.
Yeah,
Elliot.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Elliot.
So man, so that was dope, man, too, and unexpected. Because again, dude, and I know I keep harping on it, man. Matt Reeves did such a good job with their rollout. It's just the bottom line. You know what I mean? I got a couple of friends that hate spoilers. This is the one time where you don't want spoilers, but you got a full and complete experience by watching the clips. You got a full and complete experience by watching the trailers. Because you went through the movie thinking that the Riddler knew who Bruce Wayne was, and that added anxiety. And that ended up not being the reality, but that anxiety came from the trailers. The trailers gave us the thought that the Riddler probably knows who Bruce Wayne is, who Batman is.
But actually, they actually told us, right? Because there was
they didn't.
Which
they just did the Bruce Wayne. They had him say Bruce Wayne, but they never said that he knew. But it made you feel like he did.
Which also I liked in the trailer because a lot of the narration in the trailer, like all the quotes he was saying, weren't all in one scene. That was all split up.
Oh yeah, it was broken up. Yeah, for sure.
Which I like how they put that all together to make it seem like he had one conversation.
Right.
Batman.
That's true. Yep, that's true. What else do we have?
Oh man? which you're talking about the weird way of them talking about the Waynes and the Arkhams, and what was I was talking about earlier is like you don't understand Riddler's actual intention,
right?
Because he released that footage about talking about the
right.
So like what was he going to accomplish by saying that?
Right.
By releasing that kind of footage about that information about the family, about Bruce Wayne's mother, and about the reporter.
Right.
And then, it's like, and then at his place, he had stuff saying, he had like the whole wall about Batman, and Bruce Wayne was like, "Oh, I know who you are."
Right. Yeah, they did. So, and Falcone definitely played a big part in that whole thing, and he was a big part of the mystery. He tied in with Catwoman, so Falcone really tied in a lot of the characters. So I thought that was cool, man. I ain't gonna go too in depth with it, but Falcone was surprisingly,
which once again, is what made a different movie. That this movie was so split up, like you said, with Falcone, the corruption of the city, and then the disaster at the end.
Yeah, the disaster movie. Yeah. And I think that's when I had the realization, because Falcone gets arrested. He dies, and it felt like normally that would be the end of the movie. And man, we got another 30 minutes or more after that. At least another 30 minutes after that with the disaster. It turns into a different movie. So yeah, so when I was watching, I was kind of worried. It's like, anybody else that watched this is where they're gonna check out, and then the movie's gonna start feeling long. Again, I had already read, not spoiler reviews, but I had already read reviews where people were saying the movie was too long, even the people that liked it. So I think that's why I was looking at those scenes more. It was like, okay, this is probably what made them feel like it was too long. Man, I love Batman. I didn't want the movie to end, so it was different for me. I was happy. It was like, man, what we got? Because you keep track again where the trailer benefits you. I mean, you even had the scene of Batman riding a motorcycle in his Batman costume, or you had action figures and stuff. I don't know if they showed that in the trailer. Well, we know that a stuntman had got hurt riding a motorcycle.
Yeah, they showed that.
So it was like, we get all the way even past the disaster movie part. You still didn't see the motorcycle scene. So you always had that sense, okay, there's more coming,
Which at the end, how he became a symbol of hope at the end instead of vengeance. I like the first part. It was vengeance. It was him trying to stop Riddler.
Right.
And the corruption, trying to solve Riddler's riddles and stop Falcone.
Right.
And then at the end, it was about saving the people.
Right.
Because the entire time, it was like the only person he saved was the train scene. That was the only person he focused on saving. Yeah. The rest of the movie was just trying to stop criminals. Not even stop criminals.
He was just trying to stop that one murder, which, as you keep saying, was what made this movie so different. Again, so that's what I mean when I say specific. One of the things I mean when I say specific, it had a specific tone, but it also had a very specific story to tell. So you had the fear thing at the beginning, and you had the disaster movie at the end. But the majority of the movie was Batman solving this case. Batman being a detective on this specific case, not Batman trying to save or beat up criminals. It was just this case is what he was on. That was the majority of the movie.
And then the love.
I appreciated that. And the love story was beautiful, especially for people like us, right? I appreciated the love story because it wasn't overpowering. It didn't feel like, oh, they're making this love. Oh, okay, they got to do. It was so nuanced. And even when she kissed, even when it fell out of the line of nuances, still their relationship wasn't a love movie, but there was a love story involved, and that love story was pushing the narrative.
Which I liked about Batman, because the point about the reason they never really got together was because Batman always focused on his work.
Right.
If she wanted to do this that she liked doing, he can't do it because he focuses his life on Batman.
Oh yeah. Which it ended that way too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Which is crazy because she's on the same line, but she hit him with which is normal relationship. You'll see when you grow up, normal relationship stuff is like, yo, that was more important than me. Then I'm leaving. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But we know there's gonna be more to come, man. The way it ended was perfect, yo. I love the way it ended, yo. I mean, it ended with basically them riding off together on their motorcycles. She go in one direction, he goes in another direction. Looks in his rear view mirror on the motorcycle and watches her drive off. Like, I thought that was dope. And then it just goes off. You know what I'm saying?
One of my favorite things. I think a lot of people like this too. The soundtrack in the movie.
Soundtrack was amazing. Yo. It was beautiful, yo. Oh my Lord. Just, orchestra was big when it needed to be big. There was some simple parts with just pianos. Again, very reminiscent, more of a Tim Burton than Chris Nolan. It was Chris Nolan in the sense where, because Chris Nolan Batman didn't do themes. Like, you didn't hear the Batman theme all the time. Like, I think one of the movies you might have heard that theme once or twice, right? Tim Burton, over the top, Danny Elfman. You hear the Batman song today, you know it's Batman. So the new one, the 2022 Batman, it had an element of being a theme. Like Catwoman had a theme. It felt like Batman had a theme, but it wasn't knock you upside the head. It was real subtle. I don't know how to explain it, man. It wasn't as in your face as Tim Burton movies, but it wasn't as abstract as the Nolans.
And I like compared to all those other movies where they were just the background music for the scene. Mm-hmm. I also liked. I think you pointed this one out. Was when he was doing detective work and Alfred came down and he turned down the music. That it wasn't background music for him.
He playing Nirvana.
He was playing it. Yeah. And he turned it down. I thought that was.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was sick.
That was dope. Oh my Lord, the music was crazy. Dude, it's a movie, man. I think you're supposed to say it's not a perfect movie. No movie is perfect. For me, this is it, man. You know, I'm really looking forward to where it's going next. But we got a solid Batman movie. Like, it had everything, yo. It was 3 hours. That 3 hours was packed. There was no nonsense. People say that it could have been shorter. All right. This thing was too packed to me. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what would you have cut, you know?
And the fact that it started on the second year. They didn't explain anything that happened in the first year.
Well, and right. Which, you know, before we end this, funny you should say that. Because since then, we saw the cut scene featuring the Joker. So there's a cut scene featuring the Joker where Batman is talking to Joker in Arkham. They just released, I think, 2 or 3 days ago. But the uncut scene gave us just a little bit of a look in year one Batman. Because we know he's faced the Joker. It's obvious they faced each other. The Joker is scarred up. We don't know if that's from the chemicals. I noticed there was some chemical burns on his hands. Probably sticking with the fact that the Joker is smart. He's a chemist. So I did see the burns on his hand. But the face, I got a feeling that some of the stuff that was going on with his face, with his teeth, had to do with Batman beating the crap out of him. Because I gotta imagine if year 2 Batman was beating criminals to a bloody pulp, then year 1 Batman had to been amped up and angry.
Oh, especially with Joker, because like I said, Joker wasn't like the Riddler. He's not.
Yeah, right.
He has just one goal, and he just wanted to watch the world burn. He just wanted to just
the
annoy
Joker
Batman.
is chaos, man. And again, we don't know what we're gonna get with this particular Joker, but anyway, but I thought that was cool. That was the main thing with this scene. Of course, it looks like the new 52 Batman. It looks like got with the artist names, but the look of the Joker is reminiscent of what we know of the Joker now in comic book form. So he was a little bit more different, and I think we talked about that off camera a little bit. I think people are going to be, I don't know if you like that look of the Joker. I know you had showed some reservation about how he looked.
Yeah, I don't know, because like I said, they didn't really show, during that whole scene, they didn't really show much. Like, it was blurry, or they showed only the back of his head.
Yeah.
Which I feel like he can still change. I'm saying that he might only look like that.
Right. And the crazy thing is, I mean, I'm talking to people. I think a lot of people like the look of it, because I thought about that too. It's funny you should say that. Like, I read someone, one of my friends on Facebook, actually wrote, I hope they don't change. Like, he's scared that it looks so grotesque that Warner Brothers is going to be like, nah, we need to clean that up. So it's crazy. Some people like that look, but I do think it's a mid-ground. Like, I personally don't want to see something that's so gross I can't look at. You know what I mean? I think back to, I used to love this movie. This is in the 80s, man. The Fly with Jeff Goldblum. I don't think,
I don't think I've seen it. I think I've seen it.
I used to watch that movie over and over and over again. And it was just one day it was gross to me. Like, I don't know if I grew up or maybe I hit puberty or something, but one day I watched it and it was like, yo, this is disgusting. And I ain't been able to watch it since, man.
Cleveland Brown.
That's nasty.
Yeah, man. But yeah, so that's the only thing is that is if it's, I don't want it to be so grotesque that you can't look at it.
I mean,
and Heath Ledger's Joker was an example of that. Like, he was horribly scarred, but it wasn't gross to look at him. You know what I'm saying? At least not for me.
I think also with Heath Ledger, I think the paint covered a lot of it up.
We'll cover the scars, right.
Because, like,
well, you know what? This one,
with his mouth.
This one was just his hair. Mm-hmm. His face didn't bother me. The hair being patchy and burnt, and he had, real big blister, look like burns on his head.
Yeah, I feel like that stuff, like some of you said some of the stuff might have been chemicals.
Yeah.
If it was chemicals, some of the stuff might not grow back.
Yeah, chemicals ain't grow. Yeah, chemicals ain't grow back.
Hair grows all the time.
Well, even if it was burnt, because it did, at the very least, it looked like it was burnt or something. So it's not going to grow back. But again, it just depends on how he's used. And here's another element too. We know for a fact that we got Arkham. We know for a fact we got an Arkham TV show coming up. Matt Reeves said that it's not off the board that Joker would be in that. So he's being vague. He didn't say he was definitely going to be in it, but it sounds like it's something he's going to explore. And you keep in mind, they went from doing a Gotham City police show, I think, to doing a show about Arkham. And you're seeing Joker and how do you do it without Joker? You know what I'm saying? So that's another thing too, man. So real dope scene, man. I'm glad that it wasn't not happy. Like, I don't think it would have been the worst thing if it was in the movie. But after watching the movie, the Joker scene just wasn't needed, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything that the Joker said, we actually found out in other ways, you know? And one of the dopest scenes, I think, in the Batman as well was the scene with the Riddler in Arkham, when Batman was talking to Riddler with the glass. So I felt like having that Joker scene would have took away from that as well, because then we would have had two scenes with Batman talking to one of these crazy criminals.
I like the mystery at the end when Joker was talking to Riddler.
Oh yeah, right. Which they kept in. So originally it would have been both of those scenes.
Which I would think they would take away the part where, you know, you couldn't see Joker. You couldn't really see Joker. It was like,
yeah.
You could just see like he was faced with shadows.
And that's the canon, because we don't know the scene that they released. Talking about the look again, being that they didn't release it in the movie, they still have an opportunity to define that Joker. You know what I'm saying? Like I do want the Joker to look dope. You know what I mean? And we didn't get a good look at him. He might look dope, but it's like, if you're going to change it, the best way to do it is the way that it was in the movie, where you didn't see him. He was behind the thing. So you have an opportunity to redesign that character if you want to.
Which it looked like he had a lot of hair in that. I think there's one thing I noticed when they had a zoomed out scene of the prison cell, you could see his curl of his hair.
Yeah.
Like in the
Which the front of the hair didn't look that bad even in that scene they had. Only so when they showed the back of it, it was all jacked up. So maybe, but regardless, man, I think it was dope. I think, like I said, I'm glad they released it. Glad we got to see it. And to your point earlier, I think that was our one glimpse of year one. Our glimpse into at least one bad guy that he fought in his first year as Batman, which is a pretty big villain.
Yeah, because you wouldn't know if Joker didn't say nothing.
Yeah,
because Joker just could have ended in jail.
Right.
But he talked to him. He talked to Batman like he knew Batman.
Right.
Oh
yeah. You know what? I walked away, and you probably highlighting it, man. I really didn't know why, but I personally definitely felt like the Joker knew who Batman was when he was talking to Riddler. Yeah, I got that feeling. I can't remember exactly what it was that did it, but it was like, okay, the Joker, or might just because we know Batman lore too. The Joker is already the Joker. He's in Arkham. Who put him there? You know what I'm saying? We know who put him there. So, but anyway, that's it, man. I guess we'll end it with just my thoughts on the future of Batman. You can hop in, but my only hope is that I do hope we see Bruce Wayne become the comic book Bruce Wayne, the Playboy Bruce Wayne. And again, I loved the way he was in the first movie, but the way the first movie ended, it just felt like it would make sense that he would start taking the Bruce Wayne part more serious, so we can start seeing that world.
Be a sense of hope as Batman and as Bruce Wayne.
Because I don't know if you noticed, they didn't show it at all. Like, he had a meeting with some of the shareholders,
which they didn't
even show that meeting.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So they didn't show him in that world at all. And again, I was cool with it with this movie, but I wouldn't mind seeing just glimpses of that in the next one. And more Alfred, man. I think Alfred was cool. We didn't get to see a lot of Alfred.
Yeah, and the way Alfred played into keeping him as a Wayne, keeping the Wayne business going.
Right.
Because obviously he wasn't doing anything. And when they were at the funeral and Bruce Wayne was talking to the elected for the mayor.
Right. She mentioned it. Yep.
And he even then he felt like he was kind of ignoring. He wasn't. He was trying to avoid that all.
Well, she pointed it out. Anyway, that was our review, or I guess our overall outlook on the movie. Me personally, I give it a 10 out of 10. Of course.
Oh, what did Cannabis say?
Says the guy with the Batman shirt on.
21 out of 10.
21 out of 10.
21? That's a me too.
Yeah, man.
It was 9 plus 10.
It 21? Was awesome, man. For Batman, if you're a Batman lover, I think this is the movie.
And if you're open to a certain type of Batman, because you can like Batman. I think because there's obviously people that went there. If they went to go see it, they
liked it
someone
already.
like Batman.
Yeah. Right.
But they have to be open to a different look at how Batman can.
Yeah,
work.
but and a lot of it ain't different, man. It's just comic book. When you say different, just different than maybe the movies, because this Batman was familiar to me. You know, whether it be
comic book, I felt
or
like...
if it be the Arkham game and the Batman the animated series and the Arkham game really relate to the comic book in big ways. You know what I mean? You got to keep in mind that you're picking through 75 plus 80 years of history. So, there's plenty of room for interpretation, obviously. So, but this one was very, very specific to probably the Long Halloween version of Batman. I saw year one. People don't talk about that a lot, but year one Batman was in this, and again Arkham.
You have the comic, right? They gave us.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That
He
listed
gave us
all
some
the
comics. Yep.
That listed all the comics that it related
Yep.
to.
All right, that's it for our review. If you haven't already,
Go watch the movie.
I was gonna say, like the video and please subscribe, and we'll check you guys out next time. All right, peace.
GeekSon out.